Hello, welcome back to the Balance Bond podcast, Soul on Fire. Today's guest is a very inspiring, incredible soul. We have Kelly Noonan Gores, the writer, director, and producer of the Heal documentary, which is now on Netflix. It was a #1 bestseller on iTunes documentaries, did really well in the select theaters that it played in, and all around is changing lives all over the globe. So, someone told me about the Heal documentary, my dear friend, Lauren Roxborough, who ended up introducing Kelly and myself not too long ago. Lauren has been on this podcast a couple times herself, and her work fits right in with the work that's talked about in Heal. So Lauren told me about Heal back when I started to experience all sorts of mysterious, or seemingly at the time, mysterious health issues like full body rashes, chronic fatigue, hives, brain fog, eczema, you name it. I was experiencing it. So Lauren said, you have to watch this documentary, Heal. It's all about the holistic healing modalities that we believe in so deeply, Lauren and myself, and many of the people who listen to this podcast, different holistic healers and practices like the medical medium, Joe Dispenza, Michael Beckwith, Marianne Williamson, Deepak Chopra, to name a few, and so many others, are highlighted in Heal. And yeah, Lauren said, go home and watch it. So I did. It totally blew my mind. It made me feel so understood and so seen, and also gave me a lot of hope because it's about healing and radical remissions and miraculous healing, and basically the power that our minds have over our bodies. So the power of our mind is absolutely huge. If you dive into any healing practice or spiritual practice or holistic healing modality, you'll see that the power of our mind is everything. And there's a quote in the documentary Heal by one of the highlighted practitioners that says, it's not just that disease starts in the mind, it's that everything starts in the mind. So of course, if disease starts in the mind, then healing starts in the mind. And if disease starts in the mind, then we believe whatever we've been told. So if we believe that cancer is going to kill us and that we cannot heal from cancer by any way, shape, or form, then more or less likely that is what will happen. So same with Lyme disease, what I have and what a lot of you listening have, either Lyme or autoimmune issues or chronic illness or chronic pain of any kind. If we believe that we can't heal from chronic pain or chronic illness, then we probably won't heal. And if we heal anyway, then that just goes to show our bodies are even more miraculous than we could ever imagine. But if we maintain optimism and hope and start shifting our nutrition and our mindset and our exercise and our rest and our stress, bring our stress response down, then we have a much higher chance of healing. And that's exactly what the documentary Heal showcases and highlights and gives people hope. So much love to Kelly for creating this incredible documentary. I was very, very excited to meet her and have her share her health story with us, as there's no information in the Heal documentary about Kelly's journey. She keeps it about the practitioners and some other women who were brave enough to share their stories in the film. So in this episode, we hear about Kelly's personal health history. We hear about her life. We do all the fun rapid fires with her. And she's just an inspiration. Kelly is an actress, a producer, a director, a mom, a wife. She lives in Malibu. You should definitely follow her on Instagram. She just had a baby named Riley, and we'll put all the links to follow, etc. in the show notes. So follow her, check out Heal. If you haven't watched it, I purchased it on iTunes when it first came out, but now it's available on Netflix and has been ever since February of this year. So be sure to check it out and enjoy this episode. Before we dive into the episode, I want to take a second to thank our first sponsor of the show, Four Sigmatic. So first, I want you to know that you can use the code BLONDE for 15% off at foursigmatic.com, or you can go straight to foursigmatic.com/blonde to check out a bunch of my favorites on my curated favorite page. So Four Sigmatic is one of my most long-term sponsors. They're incredible. I love them so much. You can listen to the founder of Four Sigmatic Tarot on this show, episode 85. I also had the very amazing pleasure of meeting Ari, who I work with at Four Sigmatic and have been working with for years. We finally met in person just last week at the Shroom Room on Abbot Kinney, which is Four Sigmatic's little shop on Abbot Kinney in Venice, where they give out free drinks, which is pretty much unheard of in LA or maybe anywhere to give out free drinks or free anything. So if you find yourself in Venice, head over to the Shroom Room. It's really cute. They set it up so it's kind of like an escape from reality. And there you get to try everything. So when I was there, I got to restock on a bunch of my favorite Four Sigmatic product. So what I've been loving ever since I went to the Shroom Room is their adaptogenic coffee. So I'm finding it on their website so I can tell you what's in it. Their adaptogen coffee, it's otherwise known as meditation in a cup, otherwise known as balance, which seems very fitting. It is organic, Whole30, paleo, keto, and vegan. And there is caffeine in it. So I've been reintroducing a little bit of caffeine in my life, but it gives you the caffeine without the jitters. So how does it do that is because there's adaptogens in it, which bring your body back to balance, back to homeostasis. So it's blended with tulsi and ashwagandha. I love ashwagandha. My adrenals love ashwagandha. My sleep, my skin all love ashwagandha. It's an incredible adaptogen. Beyond the tulsi and the ashwagandha, there's also cinnamon and eleuthero. So eleuthero is Siberian ginseng. It's an adaptogenic root. It has actually been scientifically proven to help people heal from Lyme. And I say help because nothing is a cure-all for Lyme, but it can definitely help you. And then the tulsi is an Ayurvedic herb. It tastes good. There's a reason why I'm so obsessed with the adaptogen coffee. I'm also forever obsessed with chaga, mushroom mocha, and mushroom hot cacao. I love everything Four Sigmatic. They even have skincare now. I'm so proud of them. So check them out, foursigmatic.com/blonde. Use the code BLONDE for 15% off to shop around. If you're not sure where to start, try their lion's mane, try their chaga, try their cordyceps, try their mushroom hot cacao. It tastes like hot chocolate. You really just can't go wrong, you guys. It's the best. I feel like it's the best, most underrated product on the market right now. Just going to go ahead and say it. So check them out. Enjoy. Use that code BLONDE to shop. And let's head into this episode with Kelly. Kelly, I'm so happy to have you here. This has been, okay, I feel like I start all my interviews like this lately, but long overdue because I have been such a fan of your work ever since Heal came out, the incredible documentary that I was just telling you I've watched at least 5 times. And I'm such a fan of all of the practitioners in the documentary and just everything you do. So
thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So tell our listeners a little bit about who you are and your work and your life as you just had a little baby girl who's so adorable.
Yeah. So, again, thank you. I'm Kelly Noonan Gores, and I wrote, directed, and produced the documentary Heal. It was a passion project of mine. I just was obsessed with the topic and felt this calling to put kind of all these different teachers and speakers and scientists and doctors and spiritual leaders in a film to empower others, because each one of them individually empowered me at some point along my journey. And yeah, my latest project has been birthing and creating a little human child.
So cute.
Yeah, she's amazing. She literally, I mean, everybody says that. She's like a little angel. She's just really got amazing energy, and she's a great baby, and I'm very lucky. And
that's amazing.
Yeah.
I saw you on your due date, I think, or around your due date at Lauren Roxborough's book launch party. And you were looking amazing and vibrant and full of energy and such an inspiration to those of us who have yet to get pregnant, give birth, etc. And now, same, you're glowing, you look amazing. It's so fun to follow your journey as a mom.
Thank you. Yeah, I was very blessed to have, a complication-free pregnancy. And I really tried to, just listen to my body. Wasn't overly too concerned about what I was eating. I was just really listening, letting the body kind of dictate what it was craving and wanting. And, spent a lot of time earthing and staying grounded. And I think that all helped keep, her nervous system calm and chill.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Such an inspiration. So I want to know a little bit about your inspiration to write, film, and direct Heal. As in Heal, we get so many stories of chronic illness survivors and cancer survivors and practitioners, but we don't really get your story. Although I know there's such motivation and inspiration behind your passion, I'm sure, for holistic healing. So tell us a little bit about your health journey.
Yeah. A lot of people would make the assumption that I kind of dealt with a health crisis of my own or lost somebody to a tragic illness. But it was kind of like different events throughout my life, like little seeds that were planted along the way, and nothing, knock on wood, thank God, major like you're dealing with. But, for instance, in high school, I got sick. I went camping. And of course, my mom was like, the last thing she told me before I left was just don't get sick, stay warm or whatever. And we were camping down in Southern California on a beach. And of course, having a little fun and staying up late and doing what high school students do. And I came home and I was sick for like a week with what I thought was the flu. My glands were swollen like the size of golf balls. And once I got better, feeling better, my glands didn't go down. They were just swollen on my neck for my lymph nodes for like a year. And I went to multiple doctors. We were like on a Kaiser plan. And nobody knew what it was. They tested me for mononucleosis. They tested me for Epstein-Barr. Nothing showed up positive. But they just like gave me antibiotics. And the first one didn't work. So they tried a different antibiotic. Second one didn't work. So they tried a different antibiotic, which we know is a little detrimental to the system. But, your parents don't know back then. They didn't. So nothing worked. And then eventually, a year later, they were just like hard, like golf balls sticking out of my neck. So they decided to do a lymph node biopsy, which is pretty frightening as a child, 16-year-old. So they put me under general anesthesia, cut into the side of my neck, took a little biopsy, and that turned out to be completely benign and normal. So again, still didn't know what the root cause was. And so I just kind of continued on my way with weird looking lymph nodes. And so then I remember going to my mother's chiropractic appointment with her. She saw a chiropractor for years, and he felt my neck and he said, just try swallowing, like taking a shot of apple cider vinegar for a week and see if it does anything. So I did that. And about 8 days later, the glands went back to normal size. And I'm like,
whoa.
yes. I'm like, wait a second. I've been on all these different medications, and I went under major surgery, and all I had to do was, take a shot of apple cider vinegar. So that kind of set me on a path of really not trusting Western medicine as much as I would want to explore kind of holistic, more earthy, natural remedies. So that was kind of planted the seed. And then, different there later in my 20s, I had a horrible diet. I was an athlete. So I was training for marathons and just eating kind of whatever I wanted, frozen yogurt, cereal sometimes at night, drinking $2 chuck wine, it was like a kind of, that mid 20s. It's what you do,
Same.
And I was waking up with my throat was burning. So it was like acid reflux or whatever. Well, I just wasn't educated on diet and nutrition. So about the same time I was acting, I was pursuing this acting career and making a living and stuff, but it wasn't to the level that I wanted it to be. So I wanted to take my attention. I felt like I was holding on too tight. And I was reading all these self-help books and Wayne Dyer and Marianne Williamson. And so I just knew that energetically I was trying too hard. So I wanted to shift my focus to another passion to see if it might take the pressure off of my acting pursuit. So I was either going to enroll at USM, University of Santa Monica, in their spiritual psychology program, because that was a very, very, passion of mine, or enroll at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition out of New York, which is an online course. And I decided to do the nutritional course just because it was a little bit less of a commitment. And, I thought it was interesting enough. So I did that. I started learning all about bioindividuality and nutrition. And of course, the light bulb went on. All these gastroenterologists that I had gone to for this acid reflux problem and constipation and all those fun things. I realized, they wanted to put me on Prilosec, like a medication. And I'm like, wait a second, I'm like a healthy 26-year-old girl, And then I started learning about nutrition, and I was like, oh, well, of course, I'm drinking red wine, eating cereal, eating frozen yogurt. Of course, that's all acidic foods, and it's going to create an acid reaction in your body. So changed my diet, learned so much. And that was kind of another foundational piece. And of course, taking that course, and I was going to Agape at the time. So again, it's just this giant puzzle piece of different teachers and speakers that inspired me along the way. I read The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton. And I remember reading, about epigenetics and how we aren't victims of our genes. And we, genes are the blueprint, and it's our environment and our perception of the environment and these outside factors that and our lifestyle choices that turn on and off good genes and bad genes. And I thought that was one of the most empowering pieces of information anyone could ever know, because we just kind of feel like we're victims of our genes, right? We're victims of what we inherit from our parents and our grandparents, et cetera. And then, Wayne Dyer changed the way you look at things, the things you look at change, and really starting to apply things I learned from that movie, The Secret, about the law of attraction and energy and frequency and gratitude and all of these things that I started practicing in my life. And my life was just getting better and better. My, acid reflux was gone. And I was just feeling so much better and really manifesting some fun things. And people started coming to me going, what are you doing? Help me with this area of my life. Help me with this area of my life. So that's when I kind of started the idea of, I want to make a film, because that was the medium I knew growing up in the entertainment industry. Make a film that, with all of these people that inspired me to kind of create a better life and co-create with life, so that people could just watch the movie and I could just, get to sit down with these people, these empowering teachers, and have a conversation with them about a topic that I was super passionate about. So again, little health things along the way. I had actually started the process of putting together the deck for the film when I actually, and I think you know this, my doctor diagnosed me with mold and Lyme.
I did not know this.
Yeah. So
no.
I was like, should I bring it up before and let her know?
No, this is amazing. Well, it's not amazing
Yeah.
at all, but it's an amazing part of the story, part of the puzzle.
And
because now you're glowing with health, which is great.
Exactly. And so, and like you said, you know, I didn't talk much about my story in the film, and I chose to do that because, again, like the symptoms, I had to deal with the mold poisoning. So I went to this, essentially the long story short is my now husband, who I was dating at the time or engaged to at the time, you know, he was on a couple medications and I really wanted to take him to a more integrative doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So I found this amazing doctor who used to be a cardiologist.
Wait, Dr. Parat.
Dr. Parat.
Okay, this is so funny. And I love that we're bringing it up here, or that I am. I saw you guys there. I see Dr. Lehman. They share an office.
Okay.
Dr. Parat, Dr. Erica Lehman. And I had seen Heal, but I hadn't met you yet. And it was just one of those days where I wasn't feeling that great myself. And I wanted to say hi, but also you're there seeing a cardiologist for your husband. So I didn't say anything, but I saw you guys there and it's just such a small world.
Gosh.
And he's an amazing doctor.
Yeah.
I do ozone with him and he's just a sweet man.
Mm-hmm.
So brilliant.
Yeah.
He's helped me a lot.
Amazing. Okay, good.
Isn't that funny?
That's such a small world. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It is. Because I had just seen Heal, or I had watched it a few times. I was like, oh my God. If she's here, I'm definitely at the right doctor's office.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That makes me feel so much better because I know you're in the best hands.
Totally.
So I had him do a full blood panel on my husband, obviously, and he's helped his health tremendously. I mean, you would think he was healthy before, but now he's gotten off medications and he's just feeling much better and more balanced. And so I said, well, what the heck? I'll just do a full panel as well, see what's going on with me. I'm always searching and seeking to, optimal health. And he discovered I tested positive for Lyme and mold. And I was like, why did you even test for Lyme? I feel good. And so I just find it so fascinating that mold and Lyme are constantly, I keep hearing that it's kind of hand in hand. So, and thinking back, I'm like I grew up living in going to Savannah, Georgia to visit my grandparents every summer. And I got bit by all sorts of things, ticks and chiggers and who knows? I mean, maybe I got bit by something back then. Maybe that camping trip who knows? So, but my intuition was, I feel like I've had Lyme for a very long time. It's been in my system because I don't have any recollection of any time I could have contracted it recently. This was a while ago, a few years ago. And then the mold maybe brought it up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Parat knew my husband could afford to send me to like one of the best Lyme clinics in Germany, where they would put you on a 3-week course of antibiotics. So I started researching those and I was like, I'm not experiencing acute symptoms. Like, why don't I just treat the mold with IVs of high doses of vitamin C and glutathione, and which was daunting enough because I have this phobia since that lymph node biopsy where they pushed my IV ttoo fast. And I have like a traumatic, like PTSD from an IV.
Sure. Yeah. Because they can be really painful if they go too fast.
It was like my arm, like my skin was burning off. It was gnarly. And so I'm like, I have to do how many IVs? Like what?
How many?
He wanted me to go twice a week for 6 months.
Right. At their clinic?
His old office.
Oh, right.
Previous to moving to where you go. And I think I ended up going like every other week or every third week and one time, because I was just resistant to the process. But over time, I got much more used to it. And he's so gentle and great. And so about 9-10 months later, I got tested again. And the mold, like 2 of the strains of mold, and I'm blanking on the names right now, left. And then a new one popped up. And he says it's, sometimes happens that way in layers. You get rid of these surface ones and the deeper ones come out.
Yeah.
Which again, I think that mold education people need to be educated on mold, because you don't realize, like, if you're exposed. I had black mold in an apartment during college, and we were there for 3 months. And then I started not feeling well and like felt chalk in my lungs. And then looked up on the wall and I see these like spots coming through, and I'm like, ugh, it just doesn't feel good in here. But again, we were just like, it's gross. There's mold. Let's move out. We didn't know that it's so toxic and it stays in your system.
Yeah. Same. I had no idea.
So anyways, 10 months later, I get blood done again. And like I told you, the mold mostly was cleared up, but there was still some more that we needed to go after. And the Lyme was no longer testing positive.
Wow.
Correct.
Oh my gosh. So getting rid of the mold boosted your immune system perhaps to fight Lyme, or they were just so hand in hand?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a mystery.
It's a mystery.
Me trying to put answers to it is impossible, but that's incredible.
Exactly. And I remember Lyme is such a scary diagnosis, right? And so I had the moment where I was like, I could turn left and panic and say, oh my God, I've got Lyme, and start to go down the dark rabbit hole of like what could happen, and neurological Lyme and deterioration and these scary, scary things that come with that diagnosis. And I just go, you know what? Because I had been prepping and studying and researching and preparing for Heal, I go, I'm just going to try to stay in the present and really just get in touch with my body. I'm not experiencing acute symptoms, thank God. Just keep an eye on it and let's treat one thing at a time. And, but your mind can really take over. And like, I just know people that get a diagnosis like Lyme or anything, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis. My friend who's younger than me just got, and it spins them into so much anxiety and fear, and it's so unfortunate.
It's terrifying. That's such an amazing approach that you took. And it's so nice that you were educated enough on the subject to know that if you weren't experiencing those acute symptoms, not to necessarily just attack it head on, which can be exhausting and overwhelming and cause issues in itself at times. Wow. And now you're Lyme-free and mold-free. That's incredible.
Yeah. I should get tested for mold again because, you get re-exposed, I think, and especially in Southern California. We live right on the beach. There's a lot of dampness, and wherever there's dampness, or in all this apartment living, there could be leaks from other apartments in the wall. And
my God, I'm literally checking the corners of this apartment, especially in the bathroom, constantly. But also, like you said, everything's in the mind. So if you trust, like I try to trust, we live in this beautiful brand new building. Trust my neighbors, trust the building, trust our own mold proof measures that we've taken, and just move forward with optimism and try not to get myself into a tailspin about what might it be, what might it not be. And I still have mold in my system from before. It's so crazy. But so I discovered Heal when, I think before I was diagnosed with Lyme, but when I was just feeling the terrible symptoms and I had rashes all over my body, and I still wasn't diagnosed with mold or anything yet. And Lauren, our mutual friend, although I don't think she knew you yet personally, was like, you have got to watch this documentary before it was on Netflix or anything. I forget, I guess probably iTunes or something. I bought it. And it rocked my world. And so many synchronicities. I was going to Surya Spa in the Palisades at that time, like every day, and seeing Peter frequently. And then he was in the documentary, medical medium. I was following his protocols. Who else? I don't know. Just so many little crossovers. And that documentary is amazing. Now it's on Netflix, which is huge.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about the evolution of making it, launching it, or whatever the term is, and then seeing it do so well.
Yeah. Thank you. I just love, speaking with people that were moved by it because that was the whole intention. And I had no idea the impact, especially on, people that really needed inspiration at that time, that they've stumbled upon it. So it's been far surpassed any expectations of I really felt this calling, and I'm sure you've had your new program that you're launching, and when you feel this inspiration from within, there was definitely an energy behind it that was not mine. I just kind of said yes and answered, it was an idea that had been kind of germinating for 10 years. And when I was finally ready to do it, it was just that divine timing where so much was, there was an energy behind it. And so I kind of started making a dream list of who I wanted to put in the documentary. And I went to a Celebrate Your Life conference, I think. And like 6 of the experts in the film were all speaking. So
that's cool. That's another meant to be moment.
Yeah. So I went up after and got contacted, they either gave me their card for their assistant but I made contact with every expert that I wanted in the film. And luckily, I had a mutual friend of Deepak Chopra, and they connected me with him, and he took a meeting with me, and he signed on he loved the concept. And I was just, so it was just, again, this divine energy behind it that I was just kind of the vessel. And so I don't claim to take any a total credit, because it was really just, I was guided the whole time, and I had these lofty goal to get it finished fairly quickly because, I wanted to follow real people on journeys, but I was like, but they better heal quickly because I can't do this over multiple years, you know? And so again, it was just those intentions, setting those intentions and really putting that energy out there and trusting and following, really following my heart and that pull, is like a pull of a vision that Michael Beckwith talks about. And it just lined up. Everything just kept falling into place. And of course, there were these little obstacles along the way, but really just trusting, and everything just unfolded in a really beautiful and miraculous way. And I had, when doing my research, I saw a bunch of documentaries where I was so inspired by these healing testimonies, people that heal from cancer, terminal cancer, or Parkinson's, or things that you're told you can't heal from. I love those stories. So I wanted to include as many in the film as possible because that strengthens people's belief about what's possible. So, but I wanted to do something different. Let's follow someone on the actual healing journey, not talk to them in hindsight where they're just telling their story. Let's go through the difficulties, the emotions, the challenges, the, cost questions and challenges, and just kind of experience it in real time with them. So luckily we've aligned with 2 women that were willing to share their stories. And they were I still admire how much how vulnerable they were to share their stories and their kind of healing journey. And, a lot of people, I don't want to spoil, for those of you who haven't seen the documentary, it's not always a Hollywood ending. And I decided that was okay because, that's real life, and healing journeys can happen overnight and they can take years, and they're very complex. And they, as they have to do with mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. So there's many layers to unfurl,
Okay, guys. So we have a new sponsor for the show, Cured Nutrition CBD. I couldn't be more obsessed with Cured Nutrition for a few different reasons. Number 1, I met their founder, Joseph, a couple months ago, actually at the same event where I met Kelly, the amazing guest on this episode. So crazy, at our friend Lauren Roxborough's book launch party. Joseph and I completely hit it off. We had so much to talk about, from CBD to life experiences to experimenting with plants and all sorts of other things. So immediately, Jonathan and I were talking to him, And we were like, how can we work together? This seems like such a fit. You guys seem amazing. And we started to try all their products. So I can definitely tell you, Cured Nutrition CBD is my favorite CBD on the market. I love their mint tincture so much, in fact, that we actually decided to do a giveaway for all of the people who signed up for Waking Back Up to Your Own Soul, the course. So the first 100 people who signed up received Cured Nutrition mint tinctures. But beyond that, you guys listening to the show can also use the code BLONDE to get a mint tincture or anything else on curednutrition.com for 10% off. So pretty amazing. You can either use the direct link in the show notes or go to curednutrition.com, use that code BLONDE, and you'll get 10% off. So let me tell you why Cured Nutrition is so awesome. So first of all, they are very high quality. They're third-party tested. They're subject to a multi-stage inspection to ensure that they bring only the highest of quality products to the market. And all their products are sourced from organically grown hemp and tested for potency, purity, pesticides, and heavy metals. They are completely transparent. They do a lot of education so that they can bring relevant info about CBD to everybody who tries their product. They're an amazing community, which I can attest to as I've gotten a chance to know Joseph and some of the people who work for him. Incredible community of visionaries, creators, and healers. They're all very passionate about health and wellness. And you know that I only work with brands who I absolutely love, who inspire me, who have a vision and a mission. And also, CBD is just so good for you. So CBD is a non-psychoactive form of cannabinoid that's in the cannabis plant. It will not get you high. It's an all-natural compound that can be derived from hemp or marijuana. It does so many amazing things for you. It can promote a healthy regulation of the central nervous system and the immune system. It may help to reduce inflammation, calm anxiety, improve sleep, and provide pain management. I personally take it for pain management with Lyme and also for insomnia. And it very, very much helps me sleep. And then Cured is just the best. They're kind people. They're all natural and organic. They have so many different products from tinctures and treats and all sorts of full spectrum hemp oils, CBD, the best. It's potent. It's pure. They ship nationwide. I just think they're amazing. So you have to try their mint tincture. Jonathan and I take it every night. I actually get a little bit protective over my mint tincture when he starts to use it. I'm like, Jonathan, that's mine. But no, I share with him. We both just love CBD so much. So check them out, Cured Nutrition. Use that code BLONDE. And now let's head back into this episode with Kelly. How are they doing now, those women who shared their journeys?
So still, Elizabeth is still doing great.
Good. I think about her so much.
Yeah.
She's made my heart happy.
So sweet. Mm-hmm. I know. She is a joy. So she's doing great, still cancer-free. Thank God. And then Eva is still on her journey. She's made great strides. She left her stressful job. She's kind of working on really connecting with her passion, and she's spending a lot of time with her family, but she's still experiencing those boils and rashes.
That's a terrible looking rash. Yeah. I mean, it looks like it would feel so painful.
Oh, I know. I can't even imagine. So, and just the stress of knowing that they're coming and not, and that it's, as you know, the mystery, the no answers thing is it just exacerbates any condition that you have. So the fact that she's been to every specialist in LA and New York and she's tried so many different healers and I've gotten probably 5,000 messages in the last 2 years of people going, I know what she has, or
I bet.
I want to help her, or tell her she's got this, or tell her to check out this. And it's just so overwhelming to sift through it all.
It is.
I send as many to her as possible to give her, but it's just like,
it's hard. I know.
Hard. It's hard.
I get that as well with sharing publicly my journey. So many opinions, and a lot of them have helped me so much. I mean, it's those people who led me to the discovery of Lyme and mold and my doctor and everything else. But like you said, it's overwhelming. And at a certain point before I was diagnosed, I had just shut off everything inside of me that was even receptive to hearing people's opinions or their thoughts, because I had seen so many doctors in my life that had told me I was 100% healthy, like your story with your lymph nodes. So until you find, like, I believe that Dr. Lehman, my Lyme doctor, is my angel, because she's the first doctor who's totally understood me and has been able to help me over the last year. But there's a long way to go for sure. But I also love energy medicine and all the different holistic modalities that are showcased in Heal. So do you have, I know it's probably hard for you to say, but like a favorite or a healer in the film who impacted you the most?
So hard to say. I mean, what if they were all listening? I would hate to play favorites.
No, not even that. Just like, you know, even if you love them all, sometimes one thing will stick out to you that you think about all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I just think I think the two parts of the film that really impacts people emotionally are when Rob Worgan, the energy healer, is working on Roger, the guy with the brain tumor, the meningioma. And he's actually he's a family member. And so I'm very close with him. And, you know, after just like that session was just so beautiful, and everybody was moved in the room, and he's fascinating to watch and to experience, Rob Worgan. He's doing amazing things and helping people all the time. Like, people will call me in desperate times, and I'll connect them with Rob, and he'll work on them remotely, and just everybody just feels so much better, and kind of miraculous things have happened. So I think he's awesome. And, you know, just knowing how Roger felt after he felt like this huge burden had been lifted after working with Rob. So that was a beautiful kind of gift to capture on camera and be able to share with people, because again, when you're watching a film, you have this mirror neuron reaction. So it's really kind of a cathartic release. And I hope that when you're watching the film, you kind of go, oh, what is my version of that? You know, so you can have an emotional response. But then, and also with Eva Lee, when she's doing the tapping, the EFT with Patty Penn, you know, when Patty first met Eva, she was like, oh man, this girl she is a closed book. Like, she is not going to open up. You know, I guess we'll try for the film, but she didn't have high expectations because Eva was very guarded. You know, she had her wall up, and she's just a go-getter and doer. You know, she pushes a lot of her own stuff down to help others and to go, you know, and she's kind of not facing stuff is what Patty's assessment was upon meeting her. And so for Eva to really open up and like be vulnerable on camera was so beautiful and so powerful. And there was like not a dry eye in the theater when we screened it, but it blew Patty away, because Patty was like, wow, she like really went for it. And she allowed us to break down some walls, which is so cool. So, but I just think like Jeffrey Thompson, he's the chiropractor in Carlsbad, California, who he developed this technology, which uses sound waves, and he can find your body's precise frequency that will drop your nervous system into the parasympathetic.
That's amazing.
Nervous system and into the relaxation response, because that's where you need to be if you want to heal, and get you out of the stress response, which most of us are running all the time chronically, and just wiping out our immune systems on a daily basis. So for him to be able to find your precise frequency that can affect your nervous system and get you into a healing state, I think is brilliant. So just to have these conversations with such brilliant, amazing people. And then our mutual friend, Peter Crone. I worked with him. I mean, just what he's able to do in a conversation, and he really just helps me reframe my mind and like free up the tension in my mind by he really helps me look at things a different way.
Totally.
In such a subtle but profound way that once your mind shifts, you can feel your body relax, open up, and breathe deeper. I mean, it's pretty remarkable how connected the mind and the body are.
Truly. And then there's Anthony, the medical medium.
Anthony Williams.
My obsession. I love him.
I know.
What was it like to actually have a reading from him in real life? Because I know that's not something a lot of people get to experience anymore from him.
He is beyond. I know. And I hadn't heard of him before I did the film. And so and this is kind of why it was one example of kind of the cool synchronicities and the meant to be-ness of the film. I had called Dr. Christiane Northrup, and I wanted to interview her. Wanted to get as many women in there as possible. And she was unavailable for our time frame, and she wasn't traveling at the time. And so we were going to New York, and she was not able to travel to meet us there. So she said, well, if you're going to be in New York, you should interview Kelly Turner, Kelly Brogan, and Anthony William, medical medium. And I'm like, oh, so I look him up, I'm like, oh, that's fascinating. But I had never heard of him before that. And Kelly Brogan, I had never heard of, and Kelly Turner, I had never heard of. So they were three of like the most powerful interviews in the documentary, and they were sent to me through someone else. It was just like so amazing how it all came together. So yeah, I mean, the fact that Anthony said yes to the film, I mean, he's like impossible to get a hold of 100%. Now. He's got a 25,000 person wait list. He's in high demand. And, this was 3 years ago, but still it was kind of the same situation. He wasn't seeing new clients, and it was a miracle that he said yes. So, and he can't fly, or he doesn't like to fly, because he's hearing so much information from all of the people around him. He's just getting all this information from spirit about the guy in 23D and 6F and whatever, that he's so overloaded with his auditory senses that he goes blind.
Oh my God. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's so overwhelming.
It's so overwhelming. So, I mean, if I had that gift, I would for sure be in like a mental institute, because I wouldn't be able to handle it. He's handling it, and he's doing good for people. He's using his gift, as mentally tough as it is to have that gift constantly going. He's using it to help people. So he's a remarkable guy. But so he drove from Maine to New York, because instead of flying, so he drove however long that drive is to do the interview. So again, just so blessed that he said yes.
Right. And he picked up on your back pain and all those different specific things.
Yeah. And he said, the funny thing is, he said, I thought you had a heart murmur, but it looks good. And, going to Dr. Parat, he actually found an irregular heartbeat.
Oh, wow.
Which I know I've had my whole life, because like about once or twice a year, my heart will skip a beat. It'll like close off for a second, and it like kind of takes your breath away, but then it goes back to normal. And I've always gone like, oh, should that be something I'm worried about? But he checked it out, EKG, everything. He's just said, I have double jointed valves, which leads to a heart murmur every once in a while, or whatever that is. So for Anthony to pick up on that, I thought was I was like, okay, this guy's legit, because nobody else would know that about me.
Oh yeah. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I do the celery juice every day.
Same. Me too.
It's changed my skin. It's changed my digestion.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Love it. All right, guys, just one more brief little interruption from this awesome episode with Kelly to talk about our third sponsor for today's episode, Silver Fern. So Silver Fern brand is, as you know, if you listen to this podcast, one of my favorite companies on the market for so many different reasons. For one, I use their plant-based protein powder. their digestive enzymes and their probiotics every day. I take their digestive enzymes with every meal. I take their probiotic once a day. I use their plant-based protein powder every day. They also have a kids probiotic. They have fiber. They have a multivitamin. They have both chocolate and vanilla plant-based protein powder. And you can use the code BLONDE on their website to get 15% off. You can also hear their former CEO, former chief nutritionist, Charity Lighton, on episode 106 of this podcast. We talk about gut health. We talk about Charity's brave journey with her husband battling stage 4 colon cancer. Please join me in sending Charity and her family so much love and healing and prayers during this time, as they recently lost her very brave husband. And Charity is such an inspiration for living a radiant life in the face of loss, in the face of pain. And she's just an amazing mother, an amazing nutritionist, an amazing educator. Silver Fern is such an amazing brand. And even though Charity is no longer with Silver Fern, she taught us so much in episode 106 and made me a forever fan of the brand. So check them out, shop all their products, from digestive enzymes to probiotics to plant-based protein powder to fiber to kids gummies, kids chewable probiotics and more. And use the code BLONDE for a big discount. Thank you. And let's head back into this episode with Kelly. So we talked briefly before we started about, since the film is based in holistic healing, I was wondering if there was much of a backlash, and you said no, which I think is wonderful. It's a wonderful indication of where we're going in medicine and accepting other people's point of view, even if it's not for someone. And I think that's incredible, especially being on Netflix, which I'm sure catapulted you into a huger audience. Mm-hmm. What has that been like to see it go to Netflix?
It was awesome, because when we came out on iTunes, we kind of did our own theatrical release, because we knew that there was an audience. There's definitely like a niche audience that is, we're preaching to the choir. They're lap this stuff up. It's that health and wellness audience that's in Denver and LA and New York and all these.
This audience, podcast audience.
Yeah, you listeners out there, mm-hmm. you're the audience. So we knew we could fill theaters, and if you open in LA and New York, you get, written up in a review in a major publication, and it just helps the whole, outcome of the film's release. So, and it generates buzz, it generates publicity. So then people go to iTunes and buy it. So that was part of our strategy. It did really well in the theaters that we rented, that most of them picked it up after, because we were selling out shows, which is awesome. So like the word of mouth really took off from the beginning. And then when it released on iTunes, we were like the number 1 documentary for the first couple months, in the top 3 for like the first 6 months.
That's huge.
It was big. And so I was like, well, surely, Netflix will pick this up, because we're performing so well, and I just kept feeling intuitively that Netflix, but things are constantly changing, as you know. Hulu's getting bigger, Amazon Prime. So even though Netflix was like the number 1 2 years ago, there were other options. So a month after Heal released, Netflix kind of sent out this industry-wide memo that said, we're not acquiring any independent films, don't bother submitting, And I was like, what? They have to acquire content. I know they're putting all their money into creating original content, but they're still going to need to acquire content, of course. So I just told the distributor, keep trying for Netflix, keep trying for Netflix. And sure enough, like 3 months later in March, they said, okay, great. We want you, but we're not going to release you till February 2019 this year. So I was like, we have to wait a year, But again, divine timing. We performed really well on iTunes the whole year. And then Netflix was kind of like a gift. It was like a year after we had been out, and now all of a sudden it's on Netflix, and it was this kind of resurgence to this global audience. And it just, the feedback and it has been amazing. So yeah.
That's unbelievable. Yeah, I know a lot of my following started talking about it when it came out on Netflix. And it took me like a few days to realize that it had come out on Netflix, just thinking, wow, everybody's talking about this documentary that I saw a while ago.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was definitely a huge resurgence and something you should be so proud of, because it was so many people's first experience with some of these miraculous stories, like the radical remission stories and even the medical medium and different things like that, which appeals to an audience that's interested across the board in health. Yeah. So it's pretty awesome.
And like, you know, timing, you and I have been interested in this topic for many years, you know, and you more so than ever because of your health journey right now. But, you know, I think that we thought in 2018, it was the perfect time to release this. And that's why, like, even though I had been thinking about it for 10 years, it just wasn't ready to be done yet. And then even like this year, I feel like when it came out on Netflix, like just more people are ready and ripe for this information, you know, and it's just, it's mind blowing. And I'm sure your audience and your followers on social media, you know, so many people are dealing with chronic illness, like seemingly healthy young people. It's mind blowing how many like toxins and what stress is doing to people and all of these diagnoses that are out there. Like nobody's healthy anymore. Like where have all the healthy people gone?
It's
you know,
scary.
It's just too much. We really have to like take our health back and educate ourselves, you know?
Yeah. I was going to ask you that question actually. Why do you believe that there are no healthy people left? I mean, for lack of a better phrase, because I know there are healthy people left, but why do you think young people now, young and middle-aged and old, are suffering in a way that we've just never seen in the past?
Yeah, I think it's, you know, it's like a very complex combination of things, but I think it has to do with the amount of stress, the amount of technology now we're kind of inundated with information, overstimulated, you know, and we have this like, this stress that we are under today is more than ever. And I also believe that there's a lot of crap in our food and in our environments and in our products. And there's there's not enough regulation or education about the detrimental effects that these hormone inhibitors and petroleum products and mold toxicity. I mean, we're just not aware, like, and how, you know, all these preservatives that are in packaged food, they just are destroying our microbiome and, you know, getting passed down to our kids. So it started happening probably in our parents' generation and beyond. And before that, there's heavy metals, but it's all of these toxins and physical toxins and pathogens in our environments. And then also the mental stress that we're under today. The combination is just wreaking havoc on our bodies, you know, so we really need to, you know, and again, it's just like evolution, you know, we're in this new dawning of a new age. So people are waking up and, you know, my mind is blown watching television at certain times of the day or watching news, and every commercial is a pharmaceutical ad. And it's like people are literally getting hypnotized into asking their, you know, it's like Humira will clear up your skin, but may cause lymphoma or in some cases death. I'm like, are you people are you people paying attention to what they're saying? You know, while the girl is putting lotion on her son's back and like happy music is playing. It's mind blowing. If you listen to the side effects of these drugs and you understand. So anyways, I won't go into that whole thing, but it's like the human body is designed to do miraculous things. And there's a reason that people's bodies are breaking down right now. And we just have to educate ourselves and know how to bring our bodies back in balance, because they really are these intelligent, miraculous systems. And we just have to understand how everything is connected, how it all works, and then make better choices to give our bodies the best chance of doing what they're supposed to do, which is thrive.
Yeah, I completely agree. I know I used to think with those pharmaceutical commercials years ago, I used to think if this is legal and if like millions of people are using these drugs, they just can't be that bad.
Right.
That's what I thought for so long, until I learned that I was wrong. And that just because millions of people are doing it, just because it's legal and approved by the FDA, doesn't mean that it's safe. It's scary.
It's scary.
So it's all the more important to advocate for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
educate yourself, try everything before resorting to some of these medications. And if you have to take them, then, do it. But just try
and there
other
are
things first.
So many, amazing medications that will get us over the hump if we're in an acute situation, like, stop the proverbial bleeding or literal bleeding. But the main thing, the main message is, if you have a chronic illness, Western medicine is great for acute illnesses and emergency medicine. And thank God we have all those drugs and talented surgeons, et cetera. But with chronic illness, you have to treat it holistically. And holistic, it doesn't mean woo-woo. Holistic means accounting for the fact that every single system is intricately and brilliantly designed in your body and works together. I mean, every organ system has a specific function. Removing your gallbladder should be only in an emergency or a last resort, or having spine surgery, et cetera. Because everything, if you, it's like Jenga, you take out one piece, eventually the whole system's going to fall over. So just really understanding how everything's intricately connected. And that doesn't mean physically, it's also the mind and the energy and the emotions that are in your tissues. We store our issues in our tissues.
Yeah, we really do. It's so true. Mm-hmm. So what does your daily routine look like?
Well, it varies now that there's a little baby that's, demanding my feeding every 3 hours. So I get it in where I can, but I'm really, meditation and gratitude journaling are kind of two of my daily practices that I really are game changers that have changed my life, because I'm much more aware of how the mind can just like run on over. It can just take on so much tension and stress from the day. And like Marianne Williamson says in the film, we take a shower and wash the physical gunk off our bodies. Like, we need to take a mental shower every day and just get rid of the mental stresses that we've accumulated over the day, And that really makes sense. It's like mental hygiene and meditation, and to create that space and calm your nervous system and turn within. There's basic like stress management in meditation, but then, the more you practice, because it's a spiritual practice, the deeper you go, and that's when you create so much space and peace that you can hear your inner intuition and your soul's guidance, and
totally.
And you just you feel peace, and that is when your body has the opportunity to heal and repair and to regenerate and rejuvenate. So it's also anti-aging.
Yeah, it is.
So I think meditation, I'm really loving breath work right now. I think breath work is, and I really wish I would have highlighted it more in Heal, but no regrets. There's plenty more to do in the future.
Yes.
But breath work, I find, is so powerful and transformative. You can heal major trauma in one breathwork session. And so I don't do that on my own, but I love to take like a breathwork workshop every once in a while, or a class, because it's your own instrument, and the breath really can oxygenate and heal stored trauma, or it's mind blowing. So I encourage anyone, if that resonates, to look into breath work, because it's a powerful tool that we all have.
It is. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm going to ask you some of the rapid fire questions that I ask everyone. Do you know what your sun, rising, and moon signs are?
Yes. So I am an Aries sun, Cancer rising, Pisces moon.
Ooh, I love it. My fiance is a Pisces moon as well.
Okay.
You guys are intuitive and emotional in the best way, and creative, compassionate, loyal. Love Pisces moons. And Aries.
Yeah.
I see that.
Fire.
So you're a good balance. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of fire and water.
I don't have any fire in my chart. I'm all air and water.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I see that. I feel that.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm like up here most of the time, but I like it. It's where I get my creativity from and everything.
Beautiful.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite foods?
Ooh, I'm like loving, and when I was pregnant, I'm like craving mango. Like I eat so much mango right now. So mango and berries. I just love like fruit.
Me too.
You know? I eat a ton of fruit. And then my guilty pleasure is pizza. I do okay on dairy, and I think we're all gluten sensitive or intolerant, but we try to make healthy versions of pizza, because I think it's fun. The best food ever.
Pizza's delicious.
It's delicious.
And there's lots of good vegan pizza too for people who don't do dairy.
Yeah, totally. I know. Much to Anthony Williams' chagrin, I still do cheese.
Oh, yeah.
He's like,
I know.
easy on the dairy. I'm like, I can't give up cheese yet.
Well, you have to have what you love.
Yeah.
You know? If you were an animal, what animal would you be?
Ooh, I think I'd be a dolphin for sure. I love dolphins.
I could totally see that.
Yeah. I live on the beach in the summertime, and people call me the dolphin whisperer. So I love dolphin and whales, and we go to Hawaii a lot as well. And I just somehow always find myself like stand-up paddleboarding with a pod of dolphins. That's or beautiful. A couple whales. Like, they're just so fascinating. They're so super wise. Intelligent. They're so playful. You can just tell they're just like friendly, joyful beings, you know?
That's a good sign that they love you and that they want to be around you, because they're so intuitive. They're so awesome.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love them.
It's beautiful. Are you a night person or a morning person?
Definitely a morning person. I think like sunrise is my favorite time of day. I have a lot of energy in the morning, and yeah, it's tough to stay up late. I do it sometimes, but I'm much happier going to bed early and waking up early.
Same. Love it. What's your favorite workout?
Ooh, probably snowboarding and fresh powder.
That's fun.
But that's only a few days a year. So I really got into Pilates recently, and I think that it really helped me stay fit during my pregnancy. And I didn't overdo it. It wasn't like Pilates Plus or something that was super kind of masculine. It was more yin, and some strength and stuff, but it was more just like lengthening and toning, and it makes you feel strong, but you barely break a sweat. You know, you're just using those small muscles in your core. So I love the way that feels. And then I think running is a great way to, that clears my head. You know, I can just,
me too.
Yeah, I love running for the mental aspect.
Love it. Who are some of your teachers and mentors?
Ooh, everyone in Heal.
Yeah.
I love Michael Beckwith. I love Wayne Dyer. Marianne Williamson's book, Return to Love, changed my life.
Me too.
At a very pivotal time in my life. I think I was 19 years old when I read it.
Wow.
So, I have so many spiritual teachers, Eckhart Tolle. But yeah, I loved Wayne Dyer. Me too. Yeah.
Such a special man. So cool.
Yeah. So I went to, I wanted to put him in the documentary, and I actually still have his voicemail on my phone.
That's so cool.
Love him.
Wait, that's so special. Yeah. You should find a way to save that.
I know.
forever.
He was, so I went to Hawaii in my pursuit of getting these experts to sign on, and he was doing a writer's workshop with Anita Morjani. And I was like, definitely want Anita. Her book, Dying to Be Me, like was so mind blowing.
I haven't read it.
Yeah.
Put that on my list.
It's specific for cancer, but I also feel like she embodies hope. I mean, her body was so far gone. She was out the door in a coma, ready to.
Oh, she was in the film.
Yeah, she was in the film.
Right.
And her body recovered. So I think she's like the poster child of epigenetics. Bruce Lipton calls her his poster child because she came back from where no doctor on the planet would think she could come back from. So if her body could physically regenerate and rejuvenate, like anyone's can. So, anyways, I went to the writer's workshop, and I met them both and made contact with them both. And then 6 months later, he passed. But so like 6 months before we started filming, I know.
Oh,
but I got to meet him and hang with him.
But I think his memory lives on in the film with so much of what he believes and so much of what he's taught.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been a special edition.
He would have been great.
Totally. If you were a color, what color do you feel best represents your energy?
Oh, I would say blue. Maybe like an aqua blue.
Yes.
Like this gray Malin blue over here.
I love that. That's actually Wailea in Maui.
Okay. Yeah.
Best. I mean,
beautiful.
You wouldn't be able to tell from just the photo, but that's what it is. I could see you as that blue.
That's where we go. Maui is my happy place.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'll be there next month. Well, September. It's almost August, like tomorrow. It's crazy.
Yeah.
What is next for you? What's on the horizon for you? Can we expect another movie? I hope.
You're so sweet. The Heal book is coming out in November. So
that's amazing.
It's super exciting. It's basically the book in the movie in book form, but I got, there's only so much you can put in a film in less than 2 hours. So I could expand a little bit more in the book. So that's cool. And some people I personally love books. So it's nice to have a printed resource that you can refer to. And we're doing another Hay House Heal Summit. It'll be our second one. Last summer I had 18 hours of interviews with these experts in the film, but only a small snippet could make the film. So I released the full length interviews with Hay House last summer, and it did really well.
Wow.
Just so much good information from these teachers.
So where can people find that?
We're doing another one, and you can go to our website, healdocumentary.com, and sign up for the summit. And you can watch these new interviews. We did 21 more interviews. Anthony William again, and Joe Dispenza again.
Gotta watch.
Joe Dispenza. Love him.
He has single-handedly changed my life.
Have you been to one of his workshops?
No.
I want to
go. Yeah. I mean, the things I've heard about the transformation that's taken place in person is unbelievable. Mm-hmm. But so much of his teachings and the way he's influenced my mind has inspired the course that I created, just based off of he shifted my perception on everything. Yeah. If he could heal his body, I think any of us can. Mm-hmm. It takes a lot of dedication, crazy commitment that I'm still working toward, but it's very inspiring.
Yeah, totally. Exactly. He embodies possibility, but also he shows how much dedication you need. And it's,
to sit there and imagine his vertebrae one by one by one, which he talks about in your film so eloquently. That takes a lot. I mean, that's like a master meditator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is brilliant. And he's doing miraculous things with these group healings that he's holding. So anyways, healdocumentary.com, sign up for the summit, and you can get these. It's end of October, I believe the 23rd. And you can have access to these 20 hours of interviews for free. Wow. And then the option to buy them, to have and own them later.
That's such an incredible offering to people. Yeah. Wow.
So lots of great information. So many cool people that we interviewed. So
yeah, absolutely. Wow. So, final question, since this is the Soul on Fire podcast, what sets your soul on fire more than anything?
Oh my goodness. I think, how do you answer this question?
I don't know. It's a tough one.
Yeah. I mean, I just think nature sets my soul on fire when I'm snowboarding in beautiful mountains, or I'm paddleboarding with whales in Maui, or, hiking in the redwoods. Like, I just think nature is mind blowing and beautiful. And I'm just in constant awe. I try to be connected with nature every day and just in awe of, the sunsets and just the way everything, this intelligence that is behind everything.
Totally agree.
Our human body and our earth and the cosmos. I'm just like so in awe. So I would say, yeah, like being connected to nature and that and the stars, like just sets my soul on fire.
Me too. Yeah. Beautiful. And where can everyone find you if they didn't already catch on? HealDocumentary.com.
Yeah. So we're at Heal Documentary is our Instagram and Facebook, and we're pretty active there. And then personally, it's at Kelly Gores.
To see the cutest baby photos ever. I know. Baby Riley.
I don't know what the right, of course, I'm taking 1,000 photos on my phone every day. I'm like, is it bad to post a lot of my baby?
Moms and like moms to be, and even people who don't have kids and won't have kids, I think can take such joy in seeing a sweet little baby. And
I think so
your
too.
life as a mom. One of my best friends is giving birth in a couple weeks.
Oh my gosh.
We've been looking at tons of like newborn photographers and stuff for her. So we were looking at your page and she was like, wait, do you know her? And I was like, yeah, because moms to be follow you for inspiration too, which is really cool.
Oh my gosh. It is. Yeah. Social media is so cool. It is. It's got its, negative aspects and these poor young kids and the pressures they're feeling. But then there's such beautiful, wonderful, inspiring things that people can do, like you're doing.
Right. It's all about using it consciously, consuming it consciously, following people who make you feel good about yourself or who inspire you.
Exactly.
Versus comparing your life, which is, we can talk about that on our next podcast because there's so much to learn from you. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm so happy that we made it happen.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me and just being such a light. I know you're just a pleasure to speak with about anything.
So fun. Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this episode with Kelly Noonan Gores. She is such an inspiration. Her documentary completely changed my life and my approach to healing. As you probably know, I've already been a very holistic-minded person and have been for a long time. But I learned a lot of new things in the Heal documentary. I showed it to my parents. I showed it to my fiance. I recommend it to friends. I recommend it to anyone who gets diagnosed with a chronic illness or anyone who has chronic pain. And let's be real, I don't think there's anybody left who doesn't at least know or love someone who's in chronic pain. And if you can't think of anybody in your life, maybe they just haven't told you that they're in pain. So I love Heal for so many reasons. For one, because I think it brings us all together and reminds us that it's human to go through this whole suffering thing. It can be hard, and Kelly is such an amazing example of healing. She has healed from mold and Lyme, even though thankfully she didn't really have acute symptoms of Lyme. She still tested positive for Lyme disease, which means that it's been in her system regardless of whether she felt it or whether she didn't feel it. So I feel glad and grateful that I'm in the hands that Kelly was in, Dr. Parat, along with Dr. Lehman, to heal. And I know not everybody has access to these doctors because maybe you don't live in LA or maybe you don't have funds, as it can be very expensive to get treated by really good doctors, which is why you can watch Heal for free on Netflix and pick up some incredible tips and tricks. Maybe buy some of the books that the practitioners talk about in Heal. And also check out her summit on Hay House for free that she talks about. So amazing for so many reasons. Secondly, thank you to our incredible sponsors from today's episode. We have Four Sigmatic, code BLONDE for 15% off. We have our new sponsor who I'm obsessed with, not new in my life, but new to the show, Cured Nutrition. Use the code BLONDE for 10% off. You guys try their mint CBD and report back to me. I'm telling you, it's the best CBD I've ever tried. It's mint, it tastes good, it's refreshing, it'll help you sleep, it will help reduce pain. There's a reason why I've given this to my dad, my mom, my fiance, myself, any of my friends who are suffering from pain. So check it out. And third, our sponsor, Silver Fern. Use the code BLONDE for probiotics, digestive enzymes, all the good stuff. And lastly, check out Kelly on Instagram. We'll link her Instagram below. Join our Soul on Fire podcast tribe on Facebook, incredible tribe of humans to connect with all over the world. It's also a good place to interact with me as I try to be on there as much as I can. And also, if this show has brought you any value, I would be so honored to have you rate and review the podcast. Send me a screenshot of your rating and review to Jordan@thebalancedfawn.com, and I will send you my free 300-page yoga ebook. Well, actually, it's not free, but I'll send it to you for free as a thank you for rating and reviewing the show and taking time out of your day to listen and support us and be on this path together. So I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Sending all of the good vibes and love, and we'll chat soon.